Hi everyone, my name is Kraz, and this is my attempt at a Hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Ruby. The full rule set is in the description of this video, but the basic rules are that I can only catch the first Pokemon I encounter on each route. If a Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and I cannot use it anymore. I can't use any items in battle, I can't overlevel the next gym leader's ace, and I have to play on set mode. Pokemon Ruby was my first ever Pokemon game, so I also pick my first ever starter, Trico. I save the professor from a vicious level 2 Poochyena, and then I name him Gecko. We take Gecko north to embarrass the professor's child in our first ever Pokemon battle, and then she gives us some Pokeballs. With that, the run can begin. Going north, I catch a Poochyena on Route 103 and name it Puppy. West on Route 102, I catch a Zigzagoon and name her Trashman. On Route 104, I catch a Wingull who I name Bowing. Then in the Petalburg Woods, I catch a Shroomish that I name Helmet. North of Rustboro, I catch a Whismur in the Rusturf Tunnel that I name Big Mouth. And on Route 116, I catch a Tailo who I name Broken. After training up Gecko to the level cap, it's time for Roxanne. The Geodude goes down in one Absorb, but the Nosepass is a different story. The combination of Nosepass's high special defense, Absorb's weak base power of 20, and Nosepass only having a 2x weakness to Gecko makes this take a while. Roxanne ends up healing twice, but Absorb's recovery and our Oranberry make this a pretty easy battle. That's Gym Badge number 1. Moving down to Dewford Town, I get the Old Rod, which opens up a few more encounters. In Dewford, I fish up a Tentacool that I name Jellybean. And north in Route 106, I catch a Magikarp and name it Sushi. Lastly, in the Granite Cave, I catch a Makuhita that I name Tyson. After getting Broken up to the level cap, it's time for Brawly. But I decide to spend some time fishing up a Tentacool to poison Broken, which activates its Guts ability. Now that Broken is poisoned, the gym battle is ridiculously simple. Broken sweeps through both the Machop and the Makuhita with Guts boosted super effective wing attacks. That's badge number 2. Next I move on to Slayport, where I deal with some Team Magma stuff and get another encounter. I catch an Oddish on Route 110, naming it Plant. Definitely not ideal given all the other grass types that we already have, but we'll make do. Up next is the infamous second May fight. She leads Wailmer and I lead Helmet. The Wailmer gets brought low with 2 Mega Drains and May switches into Combuskin. So I switch into Bowing and take it out with 2 Water Guns. She sends the Wailmer back out, so I switch into Gecko and take it out with a Quick Attack. Last is the Shroomish, so I switch into Broken, who takes it out with a Wing Attack and a Quick Attack after Broken gets paralyzed. Much easier than I remember. After kicking Wally in the mouth on the steps of the Mauveiled Gym, we go to Route 117 for another encounter. We get a Roselia that we name Thorny to continue the grass theme. Into the box she goes. With only one way to deal super effective damage to Watson's Pokemon, we will be employing a strategy of the finest cheddar cheese. We need to hit 3 bulk ups with Helmet in order to ensure a one-shot on all of Watson's Pokemon. So we lead Gloom and put Magnemite to sleep. We start using Flash to get it down to -6 accuracy, because we want to ensure the safest possible setup for Helmet. Once we have Magnemite completely useless, we swap into Helmet, who bulks up 3 times and sweeps through Watson's entire team with Mach Punch. Probably completely overkill at this point, but better safe than sorry. That's badge number 3. Moving on up north, we can get a few more encounters. On Route 112, I catch a Numel, who I name Bertha. In Fiery Path, I catch a Coughing, naming it Cloud. Then on Route 113, I catch a Spinda and name it Kung Fu. All trash encounters except for Bertha. I've been doing pretty well so far. No deaths, some great encounters, 3 badges. I'm feeling confident, but that never lasts. On Route 114, my encounter is a Swords Dancing Zangoose, and even with Ultra Balls, he breaks out. Bowing goes down. It was completely my fault for not switching him out, and I'm not even able to catch the murderer. Rest well, Bowing. You deserved better. Up next, we have our fight with Maxie on top of Mount Chimney. This is a pretty simple fight, all things considered. His Mightyena takes big damage from Helmet, even after accuracy drops. The Effect Spore comes in and poisons the Mightyena, and it goes down to another Mach Punch. Out comes the Camerupt, and I switch to Jellybean, who takes an ember before killing it with a single bubble beam. Next is the Golbat, which is actually really dangerous against our entire team because it hits wing attack really hard. It forces us to switch into Trashman on a supersonic and brings her really low. So I switch back into Broken, but Broken gets a critical hit wing attack to win the battle. I honestly think I would have lost Broken on that if I didn't get the crit. Next comes Flannery. Her first Slugma goes down to a single magnitude from Bertha. The second Slugma actually lives a low roll magnitude and sets up a light screen. Flannery heals and Bertha hits another magnitude to bring it down. Torkoal comes out next and I go for magnitude. Bertha gets brought to below half with a body slam, so I switch into Sushi, who tanks an overheat. Dragon Rage brings it low, Flannery heals again, and 3 more Dragon Rages bring it down after Sushi gets brought low with another body slam. That's badge number 4, with no more deaths. Now that we can access the desert, I get another encounter. I catch a Trapinch and name it F-35. I throw him into the box for now because I really don't want to risk losing a potential Flygon. And next we finally get to fight our deadbeat dad. Norman can be pretty scary, but we have 2 fighting types and a plan. We go for workup on Helmet, and Slaking just hits us with a yawn. A Mach Punch brings it to below half as our Chesto Berry wakes up Helmet. Another Mach Punch takes it down, and in comes the Vigoroth. 1 Mach Punch brings it low as Vigoroth hits a soft facade. Norman heals and we bring it back to the red. Norman heals again because he's a cheater, and 2 more Mach Punches take it out. Last is the second Slaking, who we hit to half as it just goes for Focus Punch. I'm a little nervous about a facade, and I forgot about the loafing churn, so I swap into Tyson, who just takes it out with a Vital Throw as it goes for Focus Punch again. That's 5 gym badges. You suck, Norman. With Norman defeated, we can get a bunch of new encounters. In New Mawile, I catch a Voltorb, who I name Ball. On Route 118, I catch an Electrike, who I name Shocker. And on Route 119, I fish up a Carvana, naming it Friend. Further up on Route 119, we have our second May battle. She sends out Whalmer, who goes down to a Leaf Blade from Gecko. Then comes her Combuskin, who goes down to a Surf from Sushi. And last is Shroomish, who goes down to a single hit from Broken. Our team is starting to get really strong with us holding it to only 1 death so far. Let's hope that continues. Before the 4-tree gym, we actually have 1 more encounter on Route 120. I'm hoping for a Marill here, but we end up getting an Absol, which is insanely rare. I name it Edgelord and dump it in the box. Now we can fight Winona. I lead Shocker, who kills Swellow in a single Thunderbolt. Next is her Altaria, so I swap into Sushi and bring it low with an Ice Beam. Winona heals, and 2 more Ice Beams take it out after I take a little bit of damage from Aerial Ace. She sends out Pelipper, and I switch back to Shocker. After it stalls with Protect, another Thunderbolt takes it out. Last is her Skarmory, who goes down to 1 final Thunderbolt from Shocker, winning us our 6th gym badge. We've got a long stretch of story events and only 2 new encounters before our next gym badge. On Route 121, I catch a Duskull, naming it Spoopy. And on Mount Pyre, I catch a Metatite that I name Fivehead, which I forgot to record. And then we do a little grave robbing. Then on our way to Slateport, we make a stop by the Berrymaster's house. After watching Maxie steal military technology, we go infiltrate his hideout, watch Maxie run away, and then break the admin's knees again. This is the same as all the other Magma battles, so we can just go ahead and move on to the next gym. Tate and Liza can be a tricky fight, especially if you're playing Emerald. It's a double battle, so you just need to be wary of them focusing one of your Pokemon and taking it out. But in Ruby and Sapphire, it's much easier. You mostly need to be wary of the Soul Rock setting up the sun and hitting a water type with a Solar Beam, or Lunatone getting off too many Calm Minds. But Friend and Gecko are able to take them out one at a time, abusing their dual Rock and Psychic typing, winning us our 7th gym badge. Now that we can use Dive, we have 1 more Maxi fight in the Seafloor Cavern. We lead Tyson, who gets his attack cut by Intimidate. Mightyena hits us with a scary face, but that actually doesn't matter because we're using Vital Throw, which has negative priority, so it will always go second. Tyson brings it down to the red with another Vital Throw before Maxie switches into Crobat. I swap into Shocker here, who takes an Air Cutter and then a critical hit wing attack, bringing it pretty low. I'm not playing very safe here, but Team Magma is so easy that we get away with it unpunished. Shocker takes down Crobat with a single Thunderbolt. His Camerupt comes out, we switch into Sushi, and it goes down to a single Surf. Last, he brings out his Mightyena again, who just goes down to another Surf. For those who are struggling in their Nuzlocks, Gyarados is broken even before the physical special split, and you can get one for free in basically every run that you do. Now we go to Sutopolis, where I stumble around without Flash in the Cave of Origin for a bit before we just use the Master Ball on Groudon. I can't use legendaries though, so I just name it illegal and dump it in the box. Wallace can be sort of a difficult fight, but us having a speedy electric type in Shocker makes it really simple. The only danger comes in the form of Whiscash, who just gets taken out with a quick switch into Gecko. Shocker then takes an Aurora Beam from the Celio before one-shotting it and the Seeking with another Thunderbolt. The most annoying part of this fight is the Milotic, who can freeze with Ice Beam, confuse with Hydro Pump, stall us with Recover, and just generally be an annoyance and really difficult to handle. Shocker was actually at risk to a critical hit Ice Beam, but luckily it just outspeeds and 2 Thunderbolts are able to take it out, winning us our 8th and final gym badge. And now we can move on to the Elite Four. This is a look at our final team, all leveled up to the level cap of 55 to match Drake's Salamence. I can't see Gecko being all that useful in these final fights, so he just gets to live out a quiet retirement in the box. And for those wondering, I will be abusing the out of Guts Swellow. First up is Sydney, the Dark-type Elite Four. But at our level, even a -1 attack helmet can one-shot his entire team with Brick Break. His Absol can be dangerous with Aerial Ace, but it just goes for a snatch and we take it down. We do get hit once with a soft Surf from the Sharpedo, but he goes down to a Brick Break as well. After sweeping through Sydney, it's time for Phoebe. Phoebe is gonna be pretty tough because we don't have a great offensive answer into any of her Pokemon. I lead F35 and I'm able to take out the first Dusclops with a couple of crunches after we tank a soft Shadow Punch. The next Dusclops knows Ice Beam, so we need to switch into Sushi, who takes down its attack with Intimidate. Sushi takes the Ice Beam and retaliates with a Bite. Sushi then takes a Shadow Ball, which does very little damage, and brings it lower with another Bite. The Dusclops hits us with a Confuse Ray, and heals with a Citrus Berry, so we need to switch here. We switch over into Jelly Bean because I want to bait an Earthquake when I switch back into Sushi, but Jelly Bean just takes it out with a critical hit Surf. Next is the Sableye, so I bring it to below half with a Surf, and it uses Attract. I go for another Surf, but Phoebe heals, and we're immobilized by Love, so we're going to switch back to Sushi here. The Intimidate makes the Shadow Ball do a little bit of damage, and I go for a Bite. I should have just gone for a Surf for more damage, and Sableye goes for another Attract. I click Ice Beam, again should have just hit Surf, and I bring it to below half, as Sableye hits another Shadow Ball. This time I do go for a Surf, but Sushi is immobilized by Love, and Sableye hits another Shadow Ball. So I need to switch back into Jelly Bean here. Sableye hits a Shadow Ball for a little bit of damage, and we take it out with a Surf. Next is her first Banette. So Jelly Bean hits an Ice Beam when I should have just gone for Surf, and Banette hits a really hard Psychic that would have killed us if it crit. I switch into Shocker, who takes a Psychic, and then kills it with a Thunderbolt. The second Banette comes out, and I hit it with a Thunderbolt, bringing it low, before Shocker lives a non-critical hit Shadow Ball, and then takes it out with another Thunderbolt. That was a really difficult fight, and honestly, if we got a little bit unlucky with critical hits, we could have easily wiped there. But luckily we didn't, and it's time for Glacia. This is where we start using a pretty complicated strategy known as Gut Swallow. Glacia leads Glalie, and I send out Broken. And I click Facade, and Glalie goes down. Out comes the Celio, and it goes down to another Facade. Next is the second Celio, who also goes down to a Facade. And then the second Glalie comes out, who will also go down to another Facade. Last is her Walrein, and this is actually arranged to kill with a Facade, but it does end up going down in one hit to a Facade from Broken. Really complicated strategy, I know, but now it's time for Drake. We're going to be using the same Gut Swallow strategy against Drake here. So we send out Broken, who kills the Shelgon in a single Facade. Next is the Flygon, who will also go down to a single Facade. Then Altaria, who also goes down to a Facade. The next Flygon actually goes down to a single Facade. Last is Salamence, and because of Intimidate, we don't actually kill in one hit from a Facade, and Broken will die if it gets hit by Salamence once. So we swap into Sushi, who takes a Flamethrower, and then gets burned. We go for an Ice Beam, but Salamence goes for a Fly. I don't live this, so I swap into Sushi, who I think has a higher chance of taking it. Salamence hits us with a Fly, and we take a critical hit down to 24 HP before getting outsped and going down. I send Jellybean back out, who gets hit with a Dragon Claw down low before killing the Salamence with a single Ice Beam. Losing Sushi there definitely hurts. He's been with us since the beginning, and now we're going into Steven without our Gyarados. I guess we'll have to see how this one goes. We start the fight with Steven, and we send out Shocker. Steven leads Skarmory, who goes down to a single Thunderbolt from Shocker. Next is the Agron. I know it's going to go for Earthquake here, so I don't actually want to switch into Jellybean for the kill. This is where I wanted Sushi. I switch into Flygon, whose Levitate ability allows it to dodge the Earthquake. Then it outspeeds and takes out the Agron with an Earthquake of its own. Next is the Metagross. I take it to below half with an Earthquake before it brings us low with a Meteor Mash. Metagross heals with its Citrus Berry, and we take it out with another Earthquake. Next is the Claydol. I want a clean switch here, so I need to sacrifice F-35. Unfortunately, I don't really have a great damaging move, and neither does Claydol. So I start going for crunches, and Claydol sets up a Reflect. I go for another crunch, which brings it to the red, and Claydol sets up a Light Screen. Steven heals, and I hit another crunch, which does very little damage. I keep spamming crunch here, thinking I might be able to take it out, as F-35 gets hit with weak Ancient Powers. I bring it down to the red again, and F-35 goes down to 20 HP. Steven heals again, and I go for another crunch. The Light Screen and the Reflect go down, so I hit a crunch down low, and Steven heals again. I hit yet another crunch for little damage after another light screen goes up. I actually run out of crunch PP, so I start using Dragon Breath, and Claydol gets paralyzed. I'm just trying to kill F-35 at this point, and we're both doing tiny bits of damage to each other. Finally, F-35 goes down. I send out Broken right as light screen wears off. I click Facade and the Claydol goes down. Next is the Cradilly. Again, I want a clean switch, so I'm going to be going for another sacrifice here. I click Facade to do a little damage, and Broken goes down to an Ancient Power. Then I swap into Helmet, who outspeeds and takes out the Cradilly in a single Brick Break. Last is the Armaldo, and again I'm going to sacrifice for a clean switch. So I go for Brick Break, which does almost half, then Aerial Ace brings us down to 8 HP before Effect Spore activates, putting the Armaldo to sleep. No more death. I swap into Jelly Bean as Armaldo stays asleep. I hit the Armaldo with a Surf, taking it down. That wins us the battle and the run. It was an absolute blast revisiting Pokemon Ruby for my first Nuzlocke on YouTube. I definitely want to do more in the future with harder games, monologues, and maybe even some ROM hacks. Thank you all for watching, so be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.